y'all, welcome back to another video. Today I'm making a values or a tier list. And you might be confused, where is the dares video? Well, that is taking me a little bit longer to make because there were a lot of dares sent in and some of them were long. For example, I had to train my slowest horse to max speed. So some of them were very long and very painful, and I've done some of them so far and more of them are to come. So this is why I'm making this video that's nice, short, and simple, just to be there as like a little breaker as I am trying to make this amazing dare video. Now for this video I'm talking about tiers list or values list. Some of you may not agree with this. It is totally fine. Everyone has their own opinions, but I'm just saying this out there because I noticed in my last video when it's premiering, this one was the common scams in fall 2023. A lot of people were falling for these scams, or they were just straight up overpaying for things that were more common, and I felt really bad and I asked them, should I make a little tier list or a value list in my opinion, and they said yes. So here we are, and while I'm doing this, I'm working to get gems because, well, let's admit it, I'm lazy when it comes to events sometimes, so I needed this little extra push to try to get something. So first up, I'm going to be talking about normal horses. This does not include the special coats or the co-breed special coats. This is just the normal breeds and how I'd rate them. Quarter horses are the most common out there. They are very common, not hard to get whatsoever. Now our next one is kind of like a tie between paints and Appaloosas. You see them a lot, they're very common, they're not hard to find at all. So those are one of the ones that I would say maybe like second to bottom, because Appaloosas and paints are very close to each other on that scale. The next one I have are probably Mustangs and Andalusians. They have similar spawn rates. They aren't that rare, but not that common. After that, I would probably say the Ākautekis. I feel like Ākautekis are kind of like on their own. Let me just check to see how many horses are there, so I just make sure I'm not excluding any. Got that. Yeah, probably Ākautekis and Fjords are next, because that's how many times I see them. So I put Ākautekis and Fjords as the fourth tier. Well, it's fourth going up. If I were to say what's first tier would be quarter horses, and then for our second tier we have paints and Appaloosas. For our third we have Mustangs and Mustangs and what? I forget the breed names all the time. So for third tier we have Mustangs and Andalusians. For fourth we have Ākautekis and Fjords because they have similar spawn rates. I don't really see them a lot, but I do see them. And then after that, I put our Arabians and Thoroughbreds together. They are not like very rare, but they are rare. You don't see them all the time. Now after that, we are getting to our very high tiers. The ones that are very rare to spot and to find, which is the Perchons and the Frisians. They are very rare, but game-wise, Perchons are rare because when you almost every single time you catch a Perchon, it has the rare horse in chat. So it's overall, they are the rarest. So I would probably say that Perchons are the rarest horse in game, and then the Frisians are the second rarest. So Tier 5 would be Thoroughbreds and Arabians, Tier 6 would be Frisians, and Tier 7 would be Perchons. Now that is just including basic breeds, basic coats. Now above that, we have the special unique coats. For example, a bay/gray chimera. Not the flea-bitten chimera, just the normal gray/bay. I will show you an example when we get to the end of this race. Another one that would be a normal one is the black splash overall. Another example of this would be the bay brindle, the gray brindle, those ones. So let me find an example here. Oh, flea bitten. The normal flea bitten is an example of this. It's not like a special, unique overcoat, or not a unique coat. It's not like a special breeding, a very special one. So these would probably be the next thing. Above normal horses would be these. So what you want to do is apply the first tier to the special coats. So if it's a special coat, it's even more rare, but it's not as rare as a normal one. For example, a bay/gray chimera free wouldn't be equal to, let's say, like a gray free. Now this is excluded. This is the only free I could find at that short moment. Like, so a bay/gray chimera free would not be equal to this. After that, we have our special uniques. So our special uniques, for example, is the leopard and snowflake chimera. This is one of our special breeding uniques. It's harder to get because it's a co-breeding one. So these are worth more than the ones before. So you bring that tier, those two tiers compared to the normal tiers again. Now, where is the Clydesdale I had? It was another co-breeding unique. Here. This is another example of a co-breeding unique. It is the bay and fleabane chimera. This is another co-breeding unique. So what you want to do is take those two tiers. Tier 1 being the just normal breeding uniques, and then tier 2 being the co-breeding uniques, and you want to put it with the normal horses tiers. I'm going to switch to blood moon because Pumpkin's really slow. But after those, we have our next highest tier of horses. So we have two tier lists so far. Our next tier list that we're going to be covering is the event tier list. Now, events are the next thing. So how events work is you are going to want to combine the normal horse tier list with that tier list. Now, the tiers are based by time. So the sooner the event, the less worth it is. The later the event, the more worth it has. For example, a Valentine's 2022 horse would have more worth than a Valentine's 2023 horse. Even though they'd be the same tier horse, for example, two Frisians, you have to add time as a factor, and it becomes rarer, and there is a comparison there. So that is what you do with the time event tiers. So you're going to want to base it off of how old the event is compared to how new the event is, and you're also going to be wanting to put those horse tiers with it. Now, there is an exception when it comes to event horses. There is a repeat event, and I just want to make sure before I say it's the only one, because there was another horse that could possibly be a repeat. Well, it's actually not a horse. Let me find it real quick. Pinecone, Holiday Limited. Okay. So we have two repeats going on. We have our ghost horse, and we have our reindeers. Basically, they'll come back every single year because it doesn't have a specific date. So I find a lot of people are having to overpay for ghost horses right now when they are actually going to come back for the Halloween event when we eventually get it. Now, I would probably say for the ghost horse and the reindeer horse, you can't really use time to compare. So what I would say is for those two types of horses, well, I mean, one's a reindeer, but for those, you want to put the normal horse tier list combined with the event tier list for the ghost horse. Now, how I trade this, that they're most rare in the summertime or the springtime, actually. The most rare in the springtime, the ghost horse. So that's when you want to offer for more. But for the summertime, not as rare. Wintertime, not as rare. And they're common in the fall time. The reason is that they're yearly. I'm kind of going off of Royal High here because they have seasonal things. So you buy it in summer and they'd be most expensive in winter because there's 2 months in between. There's 2 months next to it that border it. So the month that is the opposite, or the season that is the opposite, is when it is most rare and you can charge more for it. So use that with horses. Use that with horses when it comes to that. Just like the reindeer one, they'd be more like worth more, or their value would increase during the summertime. So that's the event horses. Above that tier, so we've covered 3 different types of horses: the normal horse tier, the breeding uniques tier, the event tier. Now above those are the island unique hares, are the rarest horses in game. They are the rarest ones ever. People don't catch them very often whatsoever, and I don't even have a island unique hair. Now this one, it gets a little bit like very unclear, not black and white here, but here is my opinion from going to popular servers, seeing how people trade them. It seems you go by the island level. So for example, mainland island uniques would be the most common, compared to volcano island uniques would be the most rare. So that's what they do based on the island's level, which makes sense because depending on the island's level, it's harder to get to. For example, I am max level, so I can go to every single island I ever wanted to, but for a player that is more common, they can't really, so only they can go to mainland. So it makes the island uniques from higher tier islands more rare. So that's how I would do that, and I'd also combine it with the normal horses tier list. For example, say it's the same exact island unique hair, a Frisian is not going to be the same exact value as a paint. So you have to combine that normal tier list of horses with the island unique tiers of horses, and then you should have a more clear understanding of the values. Now today I was just going to cover horses because horses are what people get scammed on the most, but if you would like me to cover more items, please tell me in the description of in the comments of the video if you would like me to do this for more items. But those are just my opinions on the normal horses, the breeding uniques, the events, and the island unique hairs. And if you have any types of values you would want to add, please put those in the comments as well, and share your opinions or your trading experiences with everyone in the comments. And I'll see you all next time. Bye! Hope you all have an amazing time, and Halloween is on its way.